you to give me more time after you've snapped.
Okay.
For one of us to turn into dust. The suspense is killing me.
I better make it in this week. Welcome to Speaking Of. I'm Jared.
I'm Kate.
Is that good?
Yes, you remembered your name and everything. I'm so proud.
I know. The show.
We're pros.
How have you all been? How have you been?
And I see you, too.
See you and you. It's funny because the other day I was wrapping up my online teaching gig, my classes for the day.
Online teaching, side hustle.
Well, I feel like I have a side hustle because I've been brought back in to be in person and teach online, but that's a story for another time that I won't bore all of you with.
Lucky.
I know. Kate, however, well.
Well, great.
So, but yeah, I was, wrapping up. I'm like, I'm starting to feel like I'm hosting a children's TV show to a degree.
You imagine? Yikes.
So, yeah, I'm like, the end is near, though, and my show will be canceled forever.
Famous last words. You just best watch it, mister.
I should. We all know once I tempt fate.
You don't tempt fate. Fate does not to be tempted with.
I do.
Trifled with.
All the time. I like to live on the edge.
Yeah, how's that working out for you?
Gives me lots of great stories to share on the interwebs.
Well, then, there you go.
So how have you been?
Grand.
I was just complaining today about quality time.
He was. We didn't have a pregame show, so it's just all going to come out now.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I did a couple of things from today.
What'd you do?
So a friend of mine got married.
Oh yeah, who got married? Or can we not talk about that right now?
I mean, it wasn't a secret wedding.
Oh,
but...
I didn't know. I'm like, it was on DL.
But he, okay, it's an old friend of mine. He's not old. Our friendship is old.
But we are still young and vivacious.
Just to be clear. So he was getting married, and his new bride is Brazilian. So that comes in a little bit later. Anyway, so...
I mean, I was concerned when you texted me that...
Dog?
If you can hear heavy breathing,
it's not
us.
She picks the weirdest spots. Okay, so anyway, Hubs and I are sitting at a table next to my friend John, who's a DJ. And John is...
Mary Alice. No.
Mary Alice!
It is Mary Alice. Okay.
It is Mary Alice.
I'm like, wait.
I totally forgot.
Wait.
So Mary Alice is sitting to my right, and we're the only ones at the table. And he's going to be doing some of the music, right? So he's got his phone paired up with the thing and whatever.
DJing is so easy now.
I mean, right? But it was so funny because he does not do weddings anymore. So
things getting a little too frisky.
No, that just you get the bridezillas and the.
Oh, that's true.
And here's the funny part. So he's going through like the list of songs that he was given, and he's like, Peter Cetera, gross. And I'm like, those are good wedding songs. He's like, I'm jaded. I don't want to do weddings anymore. He just thinks all of those sappy songs are terrible. So he's going through the list and he's like, I don't want to play that one. But then he finds something that he does want to play, and it's either like not wedding songs.
Appropriate.
Well, some of them aren't appropriate, and some of them are just like club music more than wedding music.
Gotcha.
So he's going back and forth.
We're going with a thumpa.
Yeah, so we're joking about what not to play. So finally I told him, I said, look, if the song makes you uncomfortable, you should probably play it. And if you get excited about it, do not play it. That's your rule. So then we're talking afterward to the groom, and he's explaining to us about when he proposed. Now, his new bride does not like surprises.
As I do not either.
I don't get that personally.
Well, it goes back to my thing, because I know everybody thinks I'm an attention whore. I mean, here I am on the tube, but just saying.
But surprises aren't always about a crowd of people waiting for you.
Right, but sometimes, like gift surprises, those kind of surprises, they're fine. Like if you find something for me
he has a list.
I do, but
acceptable surprises.
These are the acceptable surprises,
unacceptable
but
surprises.
if the surprise involves a reaction from me and all the attention is focused on me, then
that's different.
It's got to get shut down.
But see, that's different than a surprise.
That's when the introvert comes out.
I guess to me, I don't think of that as surprises. That's not overall.
Right.
But anyway, she doesn't like surprises, but he was like, I have a surprise for you. In retrospect, he probably just should have said, I want to take you to dinner, or, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so he gets her to the place, and so on the way they're there, they are talking, and she's trying to, she's getting anxious, and so she's saying, well, just what is it? It's a surprise. Well, is it a dog? And he's like, no. And then,
I'd ask that surprise too. Is it a dog?
Is it a dog? Now they're our age-ish. And so then she says, is it a baby?
I think you'd know before me.
He says, is it a baby? And apparently her response to that was, well, that happens sometimes in Brazil. What?
It's like those women that think they have cramps or something, and then boom!
On the
there's
plane.
A baby.
Well, then I told Tubbs, get your passport ready. We're going to Brazil. Bring an extra suitcase. But yeah, you're right. Like there was that woman that had a baby on the airplane.
Right.
Overseas.
To teenagers it happens. I'm like, it's much more common though than you think. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it does happen. There's two things. First of all,
I had indigestion for 9 months.
She wasn't 9 months. That was the other thing. It was
problem.
super early. I think she was 23 weeks or something.
Oh, wow.
So at that point, I can understand that you haven't noticed anything funky. But because if you don't have regular cycles, then that part wouldn't necessarily trigger you. But at some point, you got to feel the kicking.
We're talking about cycles. Anyway. And not
it's
the
real.
bicycle.
It happens, and you should know about it. And not just when we freak out. Men have no idea.
We really don't.
None. Zero, zilch, nada. Did I miss one?
I'm so glad I don't. Let me tell you what.
I will tell you what.
So Brazilian babies.
That was pretty much it. Just the fact that apparently that happens in Brazil. I'm surprised by your baby. I don't know.
Here's your wedding gift.
I don't think this is going to fit on the table.
No, you wanted to start a family.
Yikes. Anyway, but apparently they made it to the location and everything went very well and it was lovely. And there were no dogs or babies present.
Dang it.
Or as presents.
Or no tributes
Either
offered.
way. Honestly. Why, what do you got?
Not much.
Okay, I'll give you one more.
All right, give me one more. Set me up.
So, I stopped in front of my sister's house, and my nephew, Aiden, comes to the car.
Right.
And he's wearing an I Am Groot shirt. And I was like, hey, I like your shirt. And he very quickly corrects me and says, this is my mom's shirt. To which I say, okay. And so my sister tells me he doesn't like to wear shirts like that, like out and about.
Right.
And I said to him, you don't like Groot? To which he replied, "Not this much."
Disowned.
You should. Not this much, because I
And
mean
I
it
kind
was
of
like
want to
a
watch
full.
Guardians tonight. Maybe we will.
Ooh.
We'll see.
We shall see.
We'll see what happens.
And now I just kind of want to I want to make him a shirt that sneakily puts something right front and center. But if it's sneaky, then it's not right front and center. Obviously that's not a plan that's going to work.
Well, and I think it should be grouped. That's the sneaky part. Like,
Well,
you
yeah.
just sneak, like a silhouette or
But
something.
I think that he'd figure it out. But not this much. Whose child are you?
Who are you related to?
You didn't get that from me. Sean.
It's true. We know what side of the family it comes from. We can track it down.
I don't need any of those 23andMe's for that solution.
So let's see. I guess my big story. Well, it's not so big, but it's pretty big.
It's medium big.
It's medium big. Yeah. I went to my first restaurant last night since the pandemic in over 14 months. I haven't counted down.
I was waiting for you to say years, and I was going to say, no, Jared, it just feels like 14 years.
No, 14
and how
months.
was it?
How
it
long
was
till
your
funny
panic attack
because
kicked in?
I did really well, which is good considering that when I was supposed to meet a different group of people the week before, I puked. So that didn't happen.
Okay, before you went, right?
Yeah, it was an anxiety
And he's
attack.
complaining about me talking about cycles?
I know. We're here to educate.
And disgust.
Literally. We're the
In
show
that
to watch.
order, by the way.
So, it was just funny because this, again, was my first time back, and there was a lot of stuff that I had forgotten about. For instance, like, we sat down, and my immediate thing, we didn't get menus. And there's a QR code on the table that you have to scan. Because of the pandemic, they're not doing menus anymore.
Interesting.
And the people that I was with have, are braver than I am, thankfully.
They're used
so
to
that
it by
they
now.
could, walk me through the process. And they're like, oh no, there's a QR. Oh, you're adorable, Jared. There's a QR code right in here. This is how the world works now.
Well, that's better than me telling Mary Alice that if he can't figure out how to turn notifications off, he should get one of the kids at that other table to help him out. It feels the same.
Well, it was funny to me because for some reason, thought QR codes were obsolete. Like, I see them occasionally, and I'm like, does anybody do that anymore?
Yeah, they were really big for a minute.
Yeah.
And then it does feel like they kind of went away. Except for if you return something to Amazon.
Right. Well, and this was like a functional purpose, so I was actually mildly impressed. I was like, oh, yeah, that's
a good way to do it. I did go
not
eat someplace recently, but I had a menu.
Well, they are not hygienic at all. No. But yeah, I was impressed, and they had like the tables spaced, and it was good. It was all right.
I'm glad that worked out.
I know, right?
Now we can go somewhere.
My first steps. I've done that, and I've returned to work.
That's true. See, we have to get ready because we will be seeing Cruella in May.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, it is May.
It is May.
This month.
At the end of this month.
End of this month.
The 20-something 8th.
The
20-something 8th.
Honestly. So we're preparing.
Yes. Baby steps. Baby steps.
Yeah.
It's been hard. I'm not going to lie.
I'll tell you.
But, go ahead.
I think that I'm too much like my mother in that for her, she's like in the present.
Right.
So she doesn't typically miss things because she's just in the present. And I kind of feel like that's how I dealt with the pandemic it's just right now. And I'm not thinking about what I can't do and what I used to do. I'm just thinking about the fact that I don't have to leave the house. Now that I think about it, that's pretty much what it came down to.
Let's be honest.
And I've been okay with that for some time now.
You and me both.
But I have been back to the office as well.
Oh.
And it's exhausting.
It really,
Depending on how many people are there, right? And it doesn't feel exhausting at the time, but by the time it's over, so I had gone to the office 2.5 days. And after the half and a day, because I went in late one day. Anyway, after the full day, I came home and Hubs, he just kept talking and talking, and I was like, in my mind, it's quiet time now.
I've been talking all day.
Yeah, we're not doing that anymore today. I didn't, but I wanted to. And it reminded me that, yeah, you get to the end of the day and it's like, oh.
I didn't used to have to talk so much.
Right? Like, I'm done now. Yeah. But yeah, there's certain days where it's not as, so we're just doing like 2 days a week.
Right.
And because we like to sit outside to work, I told my
there you
team
go.
that I was going to come in on the colder weather days of each week.
Right.
So next week I was like, let's see. Monday and Tuesday are under 65, so I guess I'll come in then.
It's true. We're at that Utah time of year where we're jumping between the 60s and the 80s.
Yeah, yesterday was 83 and today's not
well,
quite.
and it dropped that quick because I went
Last
to
night.
said meal and it was 80 something, and then coming out it had dropped 20 degrees. Yeah, it was 60 degrees.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
the world we live in. Although we're not alone. In Colorado, apparently.
Is there a blizzard?
Well, there was a while back. But then a friend had posted a picture of, we got our flower pots today, and they're like hanging.
Right.
And she says, we're going to be taking them down tomorrow for the snowstorm to bring them back out.
They do have some serious, because it's bad enough that, when they do have a blizzard and then, like, we have nothing.
Nothing.
And it's so bizarre. They're our neighbors. It's just
They're
kind of strange.
hogging it all. The Rockies are for everyone. Colorado. Anyway.
Wow. We told Colorado.
So I did mention Amazon returns recently.
Oh, yes.
And it reminded me of a story. Speaking of Amazon returns. So my friend's son was doing a readathon.
Oh.
And he's in like 5th grade, I think.
Right.
Give or take. And I thought, what would be fun for him to read is Edgar and Ellen.
Those are fun books.
So I decided to send him one. So I order it and have it sent, and it gets shipped here. So I quickly order another one, have it sent, and I have started the process to return the one that came here. Now, it's in a gift bag. Right? So
was your gift bag? I did a gift with Amazon too, and they put this little thing in this big, huge gift bag. I'm just curious.
This was a normal-sized gift bag.
Like, it was crazy. Anyway.
But it's a nice little bag. So, of course, I take it out of the bag, so I'm not going to return it in the bag. I paid for that bag. I'm going to keep it. And put all of my things inside of it.
Well, I could go backpacking with this bag if I backpacked.
Yeah, that'll be the day. So, that reminds me of another story. Okay, so it's wrapped in tissue paper, so I just leave it there. And I have the giant QR code that I printed out, because if you print it from your phone, it just takes up the whole thing. And so I leave it there, and Hubs was going to take it back, but I didn't tell him where it was going, because there's different places you can drop it off, right? And so I didn't mention it, so he didn't take it back. And so then I said, okay, well, if you're going to go out today, you can take it out. So I unwrapped it because I was like, I don't know if they need to scan it or something, right? So I took it out of the tissue paper and realized that the spine of this first book in the series was different than the spine of my first book in the series.
Oh.
Because the remaining books in the series, as you can see, all have Pet's eye on them, but the first one did not.
Oh.
So this one did, and I said, yeah, I'm not going to return that. I'm going to go ahead and keep that one and swap it out for the one I have. Because I wanted them to match.
And why not?
Right?
I mean,
right.
Why
Now,
not?
speaking of giant bags and backpacking, my coworker has a daughter who is, I'm not sure how old she is, 3 maybe? I think 3-ish.
Just right for eating.
So, she's quiet in the other room, and she's got one of those toy shopping carts. She's just filled it full of stuff, including like a plastic bag. And there's a blanket hanging off of it.
Oh no.
He's like, are you playing homeless? That's all she did. She just put everything in a shopping cart and was pushing it around.
Push it around.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious.
Which, speaking of homelessness, not specifically, but I have a niece who doesn't like to do homework, and she decided it didn't matter because when she grows up, she's going to be homeless.
Well, you gotta aspire to something.
there's your solution. However, one day they're out, and she points out a car that she is going to have when she grows up.
Oh.
To which my mother says, okay, you realize that if you're homeless, you don't get a car. What? Well, people who are homeless because they don't have any money. And you need to have money to buy a car. Oh! Talk about rethinking your life choices! That one's not going to work out. No. Aim higher.
I mean, unless you want to live in the car.
I don't think that should be brought up. Because I'm guessing that the car that she wanted was not like a $200 junkyard car. Just a hunch. Mm-hmm.
That is too funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, going back to the pandemic.
Let's go back to the pandemic.
As I mentioned, I returned to work this week. And I have a student right now that I've known for many, many moons.
Wow.
He's took great pleasure in telling me he just turned 13. Like, oh my gosh. Because I knew him when he was like 7.
Yeah, that goes by fast.
So yeah. So pandemics happened. We haven't seen each other in 14 months. And usually I do.
Feels like 14 years.
I know. And usually I do see this student more often than that, needless to say.
But he said it anyway.
He said it anyway. So, like, we're working and doing, our thing and whatever. And he's like, Mr. Jared. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, what happened to your chiseled chin?
Must have left it in my other pants.
My response is, well, I think the 2 bags of candy and Coke at home on my desk will have that answer for you.
That was the one thing that we were not prepared for this pandemic. Nobody said, in fact, I saw a meme once that was like, remember when everyone was like, if you want to save money and get healthy, just eat at home more often. They didn't say what to eat at home. And we ate everything at home.
Well, and that was my downfall. Like, oh, I need to get through this day. I can have candy. That's my special treat.
Every day needs a special treat.
Exactly.
It came to that. Yeah, no, I had the same problem where I was like, oh, this is why I don't take a lot of food to work. Oops. Your chiseled
My
chin.
chiseled chin. So I was trying to look at the bright side and be like, well, at least I used to be chiseled.
All I can, in my head, all I'm seeing is Mrs. Potato Head throwing all the stuff into the back of Mr. Potato Head. And your angry eyes, just in case. Oh, chiseled chin, you don't need that. Oh my goodness.
Here I thought I'd avoid, because that was what was funny too, is I pretty much convinced myself, I'm like, I'm fine, I look exactly the same.
We do look exactly the same.
We do.
As ever.
No, we do. We're beautiful.
I will post my picture from high school and you will see.
There's actually a challenge right now about, it's called Old But Don't Look It.
That doesn't seem like a very nice challenge.
Old but don't look it? Like you don't look
for
old.
For everyone else.
Oh. Like we'd pass with
people
flying
start
colors.
posting pictures and other people are like, I look old. Sounds like a personal problem. So... Oh, speaking of old, well, maybe not really.
The segues are all over the place today.
So, Hubs and I recently watched Top Secret with Val Kilmer.
Okay, it's not ringing any bells, but you can just.
It's an older movie, let's just say, and I think it was one of Val Kilmer's first big movies. And as we're watching it, I confess to Hubs that.
Did you just have a Val Kilmer crush?
So much that had rented Top Secret on VHS.
Oh, this is back
Yes.
in the day.
Yes. And I would pause it on certain spots of Val Kilmer and got out my 110 Kodak camera. Took pictures. They did not turn out well. So as we're watching,
What we used to do for screenshots.
right? He offers, he's like, do you want me to pause it? It's okay, we have the internet now. But I really did. I would pause it and like and you had to time it right because that line would come through sometimes. Remember?
Oh, that's right, with the pause line, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I had to time it right. But then in all of the pictures, you can see the top half of the screen. Everything else is black, and it didn't work out. But I didn't know that until it was too late because you
didn't.
You had to wait.
Yeah.
How did you ever survive?
I mean,
You didn't know any better.
No. Well, and it's funny too because we found some actual film from my aunt who passed away a few years ago, and we can develop. There's like one size. I don't even know what size it is. It's like this fat.
Oh.
It's not 110, and there was a different one that was, but like this one is just big.
Weird.
Like, yeah.
Send it to Kodak.
They sent it back. We can't get into it.
Oh my word. That's insane.
So, but yeah, it's one of those things like, do we throw it out? Do we keep it on the off chance that eventually someday we find someone that can do it?
If you knew what the pictures were.
Right.
Because I remember even at school, right? Like, you lean out the bus and you take a picture of the cute boy. I don't know if you can even see him in the picture until 3 weeks later when I finally use up all the film and get it developed. Because that takes forever.
And film was expensive, kids.
Yeah. You had to buy new ones every time.
You had to be...
You had to buy the film, and then you had to buy the pictures that came from the film.
Right?
You had to pay twice for those.
You did. So you couldn't just go around snapping every cute boy.
No, you had to be very choosy, and I was. But then I look back and think, I could have been choosier.
Right?
Oh, well. What can you do?
Those guys, you think are so buff. You look back and you're like...
Yeah, it wasn't buff that got me.
He had some tone, I guess. But yeah.
Oh, he had a tone, all right. Speaking of choosing.
Yes.
Now, I know that you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover.
But we do all the time.
However, I recently went through... so I do ebooks, right? And I'm a member of this thing that sometimes gets me free ebooks or really cheap ones. So I went through and I picked out 30 books.
Oh my.
98% of which I chose based on their cover. So...
Let me know how that works out for you.
Well, there's a couple of them that when I downloaded them to my Nook, different cover.
Oh, she's
Don't
very
do that
particular
to me.
about her covers.
Don't do that to me. In fact, if I find out that a book is becoming a movie and I think that it's something that I might want, I get the book early because I don't want the movie cover.
Right.
I want the real cover. Although that did come back to bite me once. Revolutionary Road was going to be a movie, and the book has this really cute Volkswagen Bug on the front with that his house, and I liked it, so I bought it, and it's like really depressing.
But it looks so adorable.
It just looks so nice, but yet it's a sad story. So, maybe check a little bit. But here's my super pet peeve about book covers.
Right.
And I've been seeing this a lot. I don't care if you're John Grisham.
Hear that, Johnny?
Okay?
She doesn't care.
I don't care if you're Stephen King.
Hear that, Stevie?
Your name should not be larger than the title of the book. Especially...
They're doing that a lot now.
Yeah, I'm like, look, I don't even know you, so I think Anne Hill is the name of the book. But it's not. It's you that wrote the book. Nobody cares. What's the book called? Oh, this long thing that's in tiny letters at the bottom? Not interested. Just, why? And at the top? Like,
I mean,
no,
I get that
come
that's
on.
the selling point, the
The
author or
no,
whatever. Well,
Maybe if you're John Grisham or Stephen King.
But after that, yeah. I mean,
If you're Anne Hill or whatever fake name I just gave, no, not
now
so
I'm
much.
kind of disappointed. I wanted to read Anne's books.
Well, you're not gonna, because we don't even know what the title is, because it's this big at the very bottom of the screen. Not interested. I don't care for it. And also, I understand self-publishing and, you know.
It's a thing.
Okay. However, if you're going to write a book,
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to publish, self or not, a book, can we please just learn about apostrophes? Because I can't.
But that even goes back. I don't think there are any real editors anymore out there. I really don't.
There must not be between the news stories and,
Because somewhere they're like, oh, we don't need editors.
Now, the printed books, I don't see that in nearly as much.
No. But I have started noticing in printed every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, I'll catch one.
Yeah, they're very few.
Yeah.
But, like, in an ebook, that apostrophe
problem.
problem is throughout. Like, did nobody check this, or did only people who failed English check this?
Well, and that's so weird because, like, I've come to appreciate Outlook because we use Outlook for email, and it's catching my grammar all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, you need to change this. And so I'm like, you people aren't using the right stuff.
You don't even know what that means. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I don't.
I have one more.
Okay, go for it.
Well,
Like, my life's become kind of mundane since, you know.
apparently. Well, I was having lunch with Hello Flurkin,
Yes.
and we were discussing, I don't know why, but we were talking about movies that make you cry. Also known as movies I won't watch. Movies that make you feel things. No thanks. Anyway, so that conversation turned to who is allowed to die in a movie.
Right.
The animals? No.
No.
The children? No. So then I said, now the parents, that's fine. I watch Disney.
Yeah,
I get that.
Disney's made us numb.
To which Goose says, yeah, I saw Bambi. I know what happens. And I said, yeah, Dad's not around. Mom gets shot. We know what happens. To which Hello Kitty says, I've never seen Bambi. So Goose says, oh, spoiler alert. I don't know if you know this, but... So then we had to spend a few minutes convincing her that that's just a little bit at the beginning and the rest of the movie's fine. It's okay. Bambi doesn't even know.
No.
I mean, I guess he does, but we've probably talked about this before, but why are, like, girls and especially, like, floozy girls going by the name Bambi? Bambi was a boy.
Bambi was a boy.
Now, I don't want to get into genders and whatnot, but...
In fact, when Bambi grew up, his voice did drop. It's very obvious. Just saying.
Yeah, so I just always thought that was really funny. Anyway, that's all.
So I do have one story that came to mind.
Oh, I see.
We'll close on this story.
All right, then.
This is just a classic Jared story that,
boy.
just really illustrates how Jared I am.
He's so Jared.
I'm so Jared.
How Jared is
How
he?
Jared? Be Jared. So I mentioned I was with friends last night. We went to dinner, and so we're going out to the parking lot, and this car is just coming in, and it actually reminded me of your situation,
Oh,
too.
did you stare at it and say, this is probably going to hurt?
No. So what I did do is my one friend starts going in front, and the car's coming, like, no, don't! And she keeps coming, and the car keeps coming, and that's when I thought, oh, this is the end of that friend.
One down.
But then I'm also like, I yelled, no, don't, but, was I the hero that went and pushed her out of the way?
I mean,
no.
how much is really expected? If a person can't follow directions, no, don't. I mean, should you really be risking your life? I'm just saying.
Anyway. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's why we don't have a lot of friends.
It's true. I don't know.
Too bad. You had your chance. I tried to tell you.
Oh, my goodness.
I love it though.
Alrighty. On that note, I'm Jared.
I'm Kate.
We'll see you next time.